as of an hour ago, I ceased to be secretary of the DeLorean Owners Club. I've now become the club historian. The club was basically started by two people. They started making inquiries in 1995, and then the first newsletter was actually issued in '96. So this is our 10th anniversary year. It was started by Dave Howarth, who's still our club treasurer, and Simon Lees-Mill, where we are at the NEC here in '06. He's actually on the stand just a little bit away over there on the Maserati stand. They'd had it running for approximately 18 months when it was obvious that Simon was losing a bit of enthusiasm in it. He wasn't getting an awful lot of help, and it was obvious that he was happy to give it, to pass it on to me to try and take it forward. So this was a challenge that I relished, and I started by trying to encourage some of the young members that we've got, and bear in mind that this is a classic car club and our average age of membership is 28, which is absolutely unheard of in every other classic car club. So it was obvious to me that we've got a group of young people here who, given just a bit of their individual energies, could really make this club go places. So that's what we did. We started quite early on when Martin Gutowski, who was a young computer nerd, he started the first website, got that cracking. That was where the club started growing. Since then we've redone the website completely under a slightly different name, and it's even a third generation of club websites on the go now. In the meantime, the club magazine's gone from strength to strength under the editorship of Andy Withers, who's again retired just, and passed on to Phil Peters, who's one of the newer generation. So as long as we keep the enthusiasm for the club, keep the helpful attitude that we've got. I mean, the reason for the club being in existence is to let people find out about the cars, to realise that these things are actually viable to own and run, and not stupidly expensive. And by coming to shows like this and showing people the cars, letting them sit in them, telling them all about it, the cars have never had a higher profile than they've got now. There's very few classic car magazines you open where you've not got a few pages on the DeLorean. Even at this particular show, here we are on the Sunday of the show, the last day, and which car was invited to be the car on the stand at the opening of the show? Well, it was the DeLorean. It was Chris Hawes's car, who is actually acting in the Sporting Bears doing charity rides, and it was him that Mark Evans and Mike Brewer came driving onto the stage in and opened the show. So, as I say, the DeLorean car has never had a higher profile. Its somewhat checkered history is of no interest, or it shouldn't detract from the enjoyment of owning and running one of these cars now. It's not the car's fault that their founder had got a few, how can I put it, well, he was not exactly straightforward and honest all the time, but of course he was never actually proved guilty of anything. And whilst we're on the subject of John Zachary DeLorean, I think it's worth mentioning that had he not been the type of chap who tends to exaggerate a bit, and got a very forceful, charismatic personality, there would have been no DeLorean car. It was him that had the idea, it was him that went around the dealers, it was him that got people to sign up and put some money in, it was him that convinced the Northern Ireland Development Agency in 1978 to invest millions of pounds of British taxpayers' money in making the factory in Northern Ireland. So without John Zachary DeLorean, without his flaws, we wouldn't have had a car. So now, where we are in 2006, exactly 25 years on since the first production car, they made nearly 9,000 cars, and there's still at least 6,000 cars left, which has got to be a record. So, good luck to you, John DeLorean, say I. Incidentally, he passed away about 18 months ago. But his legacy will go on forever. And that's the stainless steel two-seater gull-wing DeLorean car that bears his name, the DeLorean Sports Car.